This edition of 52 Licks is going to cover one of the most underrated drummers on the planet. His name is Dannie Richmond, and Danny didn't have as big of a household name in the jazz community, in the jazz drumming community, I think, because he played the majority of his career with the same guy, which was Charles Mingus. Now, if you're the drummer for a bass player that's that good and also that ornery, which means it takes nothing for you to get fired off of that gig, you're probably a badass. And in fact, he was. Danny's a great, great drummer, highly underrated. We just kind of assume, oh, well, he plays with Mingus. That's the dude that plays with Mingus, right? But there's much, much more to him. So hard to find a whole lot of soloing room for this guy, but I found a YouTube clip of him and Mingus actually trading. And he plays a hip little four right off the bat. So we're going to kind of break down some of the things that he plays within that. The first one, I'll just actually kind of play the overall phrase, and it sounds like this. So it breaks down pretty easily, right? Nice little rough into a stick on stick. And then he does something that a lot of guys did back then that we don't seem to do very much anymore, which is that a lot of times when we play an upbeat on the bass drum, those guys back then would double it on the hi-hat. So he actually plays another stroke in his bass drum. And then just some triplets after that. After that, he goes right into just to kind of fill out the phrase, and he comes right back to his little. And then press rolls out of it. I like at the end how he punctuates that sound by playing one and then splashes his hi-hat on the last and then that works as a nice smooth transition as that hi-hat foot is fading out, the press roll fades up, and that serves at the end of his little four as a nice trade-off, nice little transition back into Mingus's solo. Again, he's trading with a bass player, so he's sensitive to that, plays some hip stuff, and then uses the end of his four to kind of get himself transitioned back into a space where sonically we've shifted now to check out what Mingus is doing. So pretty simple phrase. I like the little punctuation. I could just do a whole bunch with that. Helps that bass drum foot speak. But check out some Dannie Richmond. If you're looking for a specific lick, it's more for me this time through. I'm usually looking for short phrases. There's a really short phrase here, which actually is going to be the beginning of a whole other thing we're going to do here in a couple of weeks. But really for me, it's more about how he constructs that four, right? The little punctuation there. It's also pretty thematic. He starts with this, then he develops that, just moves his right hand to the rack tom. And then he comes back here, and then from there goes to that little triplet sticking of right, right, left. And then was he? So that's the first phrase of his 4-bar phrase. It's pretty cut and dry. I get this question a lot, like how to develop solos better, how to do something with the 4-bar phrase. He doesn't blow chops through the whole thing. He develops a great little musical phrase. First little segment, now we're going to develop that. Then we get away from that for a second. Start of the second half of the 4-bar phrase, which is the 3rd bar. What does he do? Comes right back to it. So, I mean, it's like a short little A, B, A, C form there, like a song form, right? Phrase 1, phrase 2, back to phrase 1, concluding phrase. 4 bars, not a whole lot going on, except that it's rhythmically super hip, And he does a great job of playing something that's thematic, that's catchy to the ear. I mean, when you hear it, I'll link the YouTube clip. When you hear it, it's just going to be, man, that's a really hip phrase. Why? Nothing amazing like crazy quadruple strokes or blazing single stroke roll. So why is it so hip? It's the construction of it, thematic development with one really hip, very short idea, and he develops it. Why am I going on and on about this? Because of all these little tiny licks we're trying to string together here, instead of just putting them all together and having your solos contain just a string of licks, check out what Danny does with one very simple lick or phrase. He develops a 4-bar phrase. Try taking something like that and developing a 12-bar phrase over a blues chorus, and then maybe a 32-bar phrase. And I think you'll be amazed at the results. Okay, good luck.